Hey guys, welcome back to another team builder video for the Witchita Weaviles in the second season of the PBO. And in this week, we are going to be taking on the Fredrick KlefKis. Yes, it's that time again to get to cooking in the lab. So as you can see on your top right left corner there, we have roster all lined up. So he has Dragonite that can Terra into Flying or Normal, complete Cancermon, Terrasmon for sure. Scizor, Crocodile, Cloyster, Persimmon, Wigglytuff, Iron Moth, Decidueye, Electros, Tinkertuff, and Grumpig. So as you can see, he has quite a hefty team, quite a strong team. You know what I'm saying? Most of it's on the physical side, as we can see. The biggest, I guess, special breaker or special attack on his team is Iron Moth, and then I guess then Electros comes after that, being potentially mixed slash indexed super heavily on one either or. But he's mostly physical offensive guys. So with that in mind, let's see what we have cooked up this week. As you can see, my wonderful team builder. So this week, we had to bring him back. We had to bring him back from last week. Whoa, I can't spell. Lisa. Anyway, we're bringing back Lean the Quagsire, you know what I'm saying? And this, quite literally, is only here so it can just prevent Dragonite from just sweeping my whole team, being the classic Dragon Dance E-Speak set. With this set, you know, we're just rocking max defense, easy, Rocky Helmet, easy, so we can always break the multi-scale, well, easier to break the multi-scale rather. We're rocking Body Press, Ice Punch, Recover, and Stealth Rock, because I mean, Body Press will help us actually deal with the Dragonite when it actually terrors into a normal type, if it does, because he historically in this league has run a lot of sub, and so it's really hard to bring Earthquake, or even Scald for that matter, or Scald, well, Water Move is what I mean, because he will just sub roost and like try to get multi-scale back and stuff, and it's very hard to do. But Body Press will always break the sub, always do good damage, in addition to the fact that it helps hit Crocodile as well, because it also like, I would say beats almost, I would say counter almost Crocodile, because like Crocodile can't really beat me unless if it's banded, but if it's banded we have plenty of mons to abuse the choice locked move, so I'm not too worried with that. So it does beat Crocodile. We can trade Stealth Box with it. As you can just see by our roster here, I'm not bringing what is it called, Spin or Hazard Control. I don't think Toad Screw is gonna be needed this game. I don't think it's too great. He has a lot of mons that obviously will kill it and stuff. But he doesn't have a lot of hazard removal either. His hazard removal is Decidueye, and it can only defog. So I thought, well, if he puts up rocks and I put up rocks, like I'll just make a team that benefits so much from hazards that like I'll force him to defog. You know what I mean? So that's why we have Stealth Box. We talked about Body Press. Recover is super standard, obviously, like Quagsire Recover, no shit. And then we also have Ice Punch. Ice Punch is going to help us beat, just again, Dragonite in general, if it doesn't Terra, for example. Or maybe he's like Terra Flying for some reason. Could also be good with that. In addition to the fact that it helps us hit Decidueye, so Decidueye can't just sit on us and wall us and like, you know, roost, defog, U-turn kind of thing, like just create momentum defensively. Yep. So that's Quagsire this week. The next up, we'll move on to Overquill here. So Overquill's coming this week again, once again off the bench, Poggers. As you guys know, I'm a big fan of him. So he is coming. He is coming. Sorry, I'm being distracted. I just woke up. Sorry. Let me readjust here. Okay. So this is Overquill's set for this week. It is a little bit of a more supportive set. Not super defensive EV wise and stuff, if that makes sense. It's not like a, oh, come in on Intimidate while you're on, do stuff. No, it's much more of a support set. So very similar to what Toad Scroll was doing in a couple other weeks we brought it, where we index super heavy on speed and HP, and then just throw the rest into bulk, because the speed tier is more important than taking hits. So for this week, obviously we're rocking Black Sludge Intimidate, and then we have Crunch, Toxic, Spikes, and Taunt. We're rocking Toxic because Toxic will help us deal with some of the mons that we may need to pressure, or the mons that may come in on us. So for example, Crocodile is a really big one, and as well as Defensive Cloister is the other one, because he did run Defensive Cloister. So maybe he's running Defensive Cloister this week, trying to take on backs. I think Toxic helps cripple this, also helps us cripple Crocodile, is very good. We can't mix Toxic because we're poison types, so it's just good stuff, right? Next one we have is Spikes, because just like Stealth Rocks on Quagsire, it's the same idea. We're just going to get Spikes up. We're just going to get as much hazards up, make things take damage. He does not have a lot of recovery on his team. Scizor has no recovery currently in the game. Tinkertuff doesn't. Iron Moth doesn't. Cloister doesn't. So if we can break sashes, do chip damage across the board, it's always good. So Spikes is coming. And then we have Taunt. And Taunt is here because it's going to be the most... it's going to be the most... It's going to be a way we're going to punish things like Tinkertuff. It's going to help us resist his ability to get rocks up. So I'll be able to taunt Tinkertuff, for example, so Tinkertuff can't just like spam T-Wave and spam rocks, which is nice, for example. It will also help us to outspeed Decidueye, because with this spread, we are running enough speed, and you'll see this with a couple other mon. I believe my backs is like this as well. I have enough speed on this mon to outspeed over his base 70s. So that's his so that's a max Cloister. That's a max Decidueye. That's a max Scizor as well. It gets outsped. So like it outspeeds these kind of mons, because the speed tier is important. So like Scizor obviously can't just spam SD on this mon, for example, or Scizor, no, not Scizor, or something like the Decidueye can't. It should be harder for him to defog, if that makes sense, because in theory he should be playing with rocks, and we should be playing with rocks and spikes. He could been Spikes on Cloister. I believe he does get it, but if that's the case, then Cloister is not a Shell Smash try to beat my face to death in, which I can appreciate. So yeah, this is the Null Pudding Overgrowth set for this week. Much more, it's bulky, but it's much more speed based. It's more utility and less tanky. So I think this mon will be more of a pivot, have a pivot role, abuse Intimidate, abuse support moves, crunch spam, because Doc is always good offensive typing, right? Because even his Doc Resist, for example, let's see, I go for crunch, and he goes on the Tinkertuff. Well, I can just taunt Tinkertuff. Like, I gain value out of that turn, if that makes sense. So obviously, like, if he goes on the Crocodile, that kind of sucks, but again, maybe we make a predict, go for Toxic, or, you know, any damage on Crocodile is also helpful, because it's less lifting my Quagsire has to do. So those are kind of our offensive checks / walls for this week, which kind of deals with most of his team, like we talked about before. But then we get to the mon that's gonna 6-0 my team. We get to Iron Moth. Iron Moth is not fun for me to deal with. Not fun for me to deal with in OU. Not fun for me to deal with on the in this league. I don't have a Mega Tyranitar in that dex like I usually do to fix that. So here we are. So we kind of have a 2-mon strategy to try to navigate any type, any variant of Iron Moth. The main Iron Moth sets I think that he can bring would be Scarf Specs, Booster Energy, Special Attack, Acid Spray, and that's it. So Specs is fine. Oh, I guess he could bring Boots as well. Boots is the 5th one, but I think Boots is the easiest one to deal with. And I guess Boots and Acid Spray together could be meshed together. So this is the first mon in our strategy is Vaporeon. So once again, Juvia's coming back, you know, truly the fucking GOAT. I cannot spell, I don't want to talk about it. Right, she came last week, she was doing crazy damage last week, not damage, she was just being crazy supportive last week, basically brought back game 1 for us, very strong. This week, we are running basically max special defense, not really, but kind of, because again, he doesn't have a lot of special attackers. So basically this is enough special defense, and obviously with HP, that we can live a booster energy. We don't get 2 KO'd by booster energy ball by from full HP from Iron Moth. Obviously if he specs, it gets messy, but for sure Juvia here is much more of a pivot mon. Like, come in on fucking Moth, okay, what happens? Maybe goes for Toxic Spikes, maybe goes for U-turn, like, you know what I mean? We try to navigate that, but this is for sure my initial switch into Iron Moth every time. If it specs, we do not die and won't hit, it's impossible. We do take like 60%, like it's a lot of damage. But we are trying our best to navigate that. So that's specs. The next one would be Scarf. Scarf, it loses to this, which is good. And then we move on to something like Booster Energy Special Attack we talked about. I actually think like this basically beats that, with the exception of Acid Spray. So the only reason I talk about Acid Spray on Iron Moth right now is because in past weeks I have discussed with our opponent for his other battles how Acid Spray Moth is a self-breaker, given some like chip damage on some things. Like, Hazards plus Acid Spray can kind of set up Moth to do a lot of stuff, right? If you don't know what Acid Spray does, Acid Spray is a base 40 poison move that does that lowers the special defense by 2 if on the opponent, all the time, like 100%, right? So it basically gives Moth plus 2 kind of thing, and that's really strong. And so Vaporeon does lose to that. Like if I switch in, take an Acid Spray, like I can lose to that. But if he's Acid Spray, he's not choiced, and that's super important to know. So how do we beat Specs Moth or Acid Spray Moth, right? Because Vaporeon can't do it. She does a lot of things, and she's a complete Chad on our team, but she can't do it. How do we beat it? Well. Here's how we do it. Are you guys ready? I'm very excited for this set. For sure, the set to watch this week. This is a draft league in a nutshell. We bring AV bags. That's what we bring. So, take a moment. Look at the spread, and let's talk. So once again, we're running enough speed here to outspeed over his base 70s. This is all very good, awesome, cool. We're rocking AV, and we're rocking Icicle Crash, Glaive Rush, Earthquake, Ice Shard. It is going to be Terra Dragon this week. So here's the thing, right? With AV and my special attack stat, and the fact that Bax has base 115 HP, this thing can't really lose to Iron Moth. Like, it just can't. I don't care if it's specs. Like basically, he needs specs Dazzling Gleam to do the most possible damage. I think that's not even good against my team. And it does like 48% max. Like, it can never 2 KO me. It's impossible. Very good. And this is all a product of me Terra Dragoning? Is that a word? I don't think so. Sorry. When I use my Terra, I'll be pure Dragon. So I resist fire. Sludge Wave does like 45% max or something. Like, it's really not it. It does nothing. And this is specs we're talking about. Acid Spray could be a little messy, but not, sometimes. So when he goes for Acid Spray, if he's booster special attack, Acid Spray, booster special attack, and then dazzles me, I think he has like a 2% chance to kill me. So there's a lot of conditions and a lot of certain things that have to align for that to be possible, and the roll is 98% in my favor. So surely that won't happen in this game. And even without attack stat, even basically from the calcs I ran, without any investment into attack, Bax still has base 145 attack. Like, that's such a crazy number, right? And with Terra Dragon, which multiplies Glaive Rush again, there is nothing in the game that's going to take this well. Like, if Scissor comes in, if it's like offensive Scissor, right? If it has any kind of speed offensive Scissor, it's taking like 30-40%, which is an insane thing to think about because I'm not invested when I use my Terra, right? Because I get an extra multiplier. Tinker Tough is the only thing that can take Glaive Rush because it's a fairy type, obviously. But we have EQ, and EQ does like I think 40% or something to Tinker Tough if it's max Fizz Def, which I do believe it has to be this week. If it's not Fizz Def Tink, that plus like any kind of hazard pressure, it will die. Like, I'll kill it in 2. Icicle Crash, because, you know, flinches are always awesome, and we're not running loaded dice, so Icicle Spear values, like, whatever. Even though you could try to make an argument that if I ran more speed, well, you can make an argument that I could run Icicle Spear to try to break multi-scale and stuff, but then I can't beat Moth, so I don't think it's worth. It's always good to have Icicle Crash. And then Ice Shard, obviously, priority's good. It's whatever. So basically, we have to early Terra Baxcalibur so I can take Iron Moth hits. That's kind of how the math works out. Well, that is how the math works out. I think I might lead this. We'll see what happens. But yeah, that's how we beat Acid Spray Moth. That's how we beat Specs Moth. And this again can also beat Scuff Moth. Not finally. And then the last, I guess, potential check we have here to Iron Moth, because it's gonna help us check Scuff Moth, is it Mr. Guy. So we have our name, we have our enam here. Yes, I'm gonna be that guy and check my other guy. Yeah, okay, cool. See, look at that. I'm smurfing, by the way. This was last week's. Okay, sorry. So we got Hate Fuck for this week. What does Hate Fuck? What does he got for us? So this week we're running a very similar set to last week, like a super similar set. We are running Choice Scarf, Moonblast, Earth Power, Mystical Fire, Ethereal Wish. It's a little different coverage from last week. And this mon does a lot of damage. It's not modest like last week, tragically. Instead, we've opted for 172 plus a Timid Nature to, again, hit the important jump point. Jesus. To basically outspeed everything on his team. Everything that I think will be important. Sorry, I'm looking over his team just to make sure there's no speed tiers I'm missing. Because most of his speed tiers pretty mid. Yeah, so basically with this investment, with Scarf outspeed everything. It also helps us. Oh, I believe this. Sorry. This just came, I remember this speed creep. I believe is an Adamant plus 2 Cloister. Adamant plus 2 Cloister. I believe we outspeed. I can check this out for you. Enam. Sorry, I know it's like super scuffed, but like I'm pretty sure this is the math. I'm pretty sure this is the Shimon math. Oh, what is this? 172. So 172 timid plus 1 speed. Yeah. So, you know, turns out I can do the math. You guys can't actually see. See? So yeah. Okay. Sorry. I know it's a super scuff video, but whatever. I'm tired. So I can outspeed a plus 2 Adamant Cloister with this speed investment, in addition to the fact that the 84 defensive Vs that I have actually helped me take extreme speeds actually significantly better. It's not great. It's not like I'm gonna live like an extra, like a third one or something, but every small percent matters kind of thing. It also helps me live like defensive scissor, bullet punch, or not like bandit or life orb, something like this, you know. These EVs actually do help me deal with basically not max completely punch you in the face scissor build, right? I do take hits better. So with the defense investment specifically, obviously we're rocking contrary, because if I get any supposed hacks on the drops on my guys, I want them to be boosts. So yeah, this week is not well, this week, but this set, similar to last week, is very similar. I come in, I click Moonblast. It's very easy. The only things that obviously can take it would be his 2 steel types, Tinker Tough and Scizor. That's why we have Earth Power and Mystical Fire respectively. And then also his Moth, right? His quad resist, but then I have Earth Power. So if I just make a proper predict, it's very strong. I also think Healing Wish actually might get used this week, because I can Healing Wish back in the back Excalibur, bring him back to full HP when he's down and out, and then boom, he can just sweep the game because he's the GOAT. Another thing I guess about an Amos to think about this game is like Crocodile. If it's like rocks, right? Let's say it's rocks, stab, dual stab, and then like his last move has to be Stone Edge. If it's not Stone Edge, if it's Taunt, if it's Dragon Tail, or I guess Outrage or Dragon Claw, anything like this, CC. In Amos, there's naturally walls. That's another reason why my defensive EVs, I put some defensive EVs in here, because I do think it's going to be taking at least a couple Crocodile hits. And then if it is Stone Edge, then Mr. Quag can deal with that guy much better. And then finally, we have Magneton. Mr. Magneton. Mr. Nana. Oh my goodness. Sorry. Mr. Magneton is here. Second week, repping the squad. Big respect. Yeah. This week we have a very simple EV spread and build, actually. Max, easy breezy, no problem. Timid, no issue, boys. We need to run Timid, obviously, because it helps us speed tie with over his base 70s, and also helps us outspeed max speed Scizor, which is good. We are running Magnapole this week, just like the last time Mr. Nanagear came, because we have to trap Scizor. If we trap Scizor and we trap Tinkertoff, then our backs in Anamorous go sicko mode. For sure, completely one-shot crazy mode, which is really awesome. So we're trying to trap them, that's why we have Magnapole. Specs Thunderbolt is like completely cooking offensive Scizor. It's really cooking. It's doing like 76% or something, 76% to like 84 or something. Like, it's totally cooking offensive Scizor. Defensive Scizor gets less cooked, but it's also doing less damage to my whole team then, so I'm okay with that. This one in general just does a lot of damage. If it's like Terra Flying Dragonite, or maybe it's defensive Dragonite without Earthquake, it obviously beats it, which is good. And his Steel Resist also kind of suck, to be honest. Like, his best switch into this is Electros. That's why we're rocking Tri-Attack, something to hit that for neutral, in addition to always trying to get some hacks. You know, 20% to get burned, 20% to get freeze kind of vibe. Like, can't be bad, right? So, but yeah, this is very simple. We're burning Magneton, Specs Magneton. I could tell you the difference between Magneton and Magnezone and why I like Magneton better in draft, which is, a part of it is the speed tier. Like, base 70 is significantly more important than base fucking 60. Like, that's just so bad. But that's a whole, like, YouTube short TikTok thing. Like, that's a whole different TED Talk, you know? Basically, all you guys need to know, we're bringing Max, super easy. The idea is it comes in, clicks a move, does like 60% to something minimum, and then, you know, we pivot into our defensive / supportive mons, and then we try to position again, very similar to last week. We got the same Enamor set basically from last week, and this Excalibur set that is basically max HP, be super tanky, completely one-shot this whole thing kind of thing. Should be fun. It's gonna be a very exciting game to play this week. And with that, I think that's it. So, hope you guys liked today's video. Make sure to like and subscribe, and tune in to watch the battle. That's when I'm gonna upload the battle. Oh, probably Monday. I like how I'm saying that, like I'm gonna upload this on time. Anyway, don't worry about that. Basically, make sure you guys subscribe so you don't need to listen to my rambling, and you know when the stuff is uploaded. Always hit that bell so you get those notifications. And with that, I'll see you guys next week for the PBO, which is swiftly coming to a close. So be on the lookout for that. So see you guys next video. Bye.